him in the.
It's of no consequence if he's making noise or not. We'll get along just fine with and without him. It's just the three kids, you, me, and he. Okay. And so, you were talking about.
I'm just gonna get him a pacifier.
So,
yeah,
you were talking about that you had gotten angry at your neighbors.
Yeah, really angry.
And so then you went to complain to the authorities or something like that.
Yeah, I called the landlord.
Uh-huh. And then you sat down for Anapanasati.
Yes.
Okay. I can understand that. But let me ask you this question. Do you think that if you had sat down to Anapanasati before you went to the authorities, whoever they were, that you would have handled the authorities any differently at all?
Yeah, I would have not been like the first person I talked to. I was so angry that I was almost shaking with my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have feel a lot better actually.
Uh-huh. So in a way,
yeah.
you were full of anger, which is a kind of poison, and you spewed that poison all over someone for no real good reason at all, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I was pretty composed now, but I think, of course, you transmit when you're
Okay,
like.
so you lightly dusted them.
Yeah, maybe I made a yeah. Yeah, that's true. I had a bad vibe. I gave them a bad vibe. That I can do, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, if you go in playing sour notes, they're sure to pick up on them. So, the first thing then that we can talk about that it's actually better to recognize anger as anger. The sooner the better. And the sooner we do something about it, the better. And that, in a way, this is what Anapanasati is really all about, where many people think that meditation is about sitting down on the floor in a particular posture and doing something with a candle and an alarm clock and a Buddha statue and a table and stuff like this. But really, the Anapanasati that we're talking about, the sati, is that we want to develop it so that we can wake up really quickly so that we can see the dukkha, like for instance the dukkha in anger, so that we can get rid of it, so that even if what we saw or what we realized came to be that we recognize now we've got a job to do. We can go ahead and do that job, but now we can do it with grace and with ease if we can get rid of the anger portion. So it's not a matter of whether you went to complain to the authorities or not. It's a matter of how you feel.
I was usually when I was younger, I was carrying this energy around me everywhere. So, or when I was not practicing meditation, I was practicing. I was carrying around this tense energy all the time. So now with that, I have been having like a few weeks that everything has been really calm and really good. Then it was a real big. It was such a big difference, in the mood. Like I noticed the difference between being, because I think in most part of my life I've been going around being a little bit angry all the time, with a little bit of anger inside,
Mm-hmm. We can actually draw an analogy with that in the sense of whatever the body chemicals there are that give rise to anger. And certainly they say that adrenaline and cortisol are two of the ingredients there. That if the mind is just giving a little bit, like a leaky faucet, just a little drip, drip, drip of this kind of chemical into the system, then it gives us the feeling that we're angry all the time. But what we can actually do is that if we can stop just one drip and then another just one drip, then pretty soon that stuff can get cleaned out. Now, what you were doing there at that point, though, is you were going full faucet.
Yeah.
Full, turned it on, okay? And so you're pumped
Crazy, it
up
was
with
crazy.
all of these chemicals.
And these issues, I've been practicing these 3 weeks, and I'm not taking care of these issues outside in my yard. So it's like it's building up. It's been building up in the background, like Buddha said, in the store consciousness. It planted a seed of anger, and then the seed come up, and it was like exploding. So I was really overwhelmed by it. So I really tried to breathe and everything, and I tried to be nice to people, and I succeeded, But my body was I was totally fried. My muscles were hurting. My cheek, my face was hurting after this.
I know. I've been there, done that. I know what it is. A lot of people, they don't recognize. Congratulations, you're beginning to see anger for anger.
Yeah.
And now, let us put it this way. Our culture is built upon a certain amount of righteous anger that's built into criticism. That if I know that something is right and you don't, and I tell you and you still don't change, then I can get angry and feel righteous and make you do what I know is right. This is really built into our society all over the place. Governments have that attitude that we need to do things right, and might makes right. So, with that kind of attitude that we have, it gives us kind of a gratification or a justification for feeling powerful so that we can get it done. That anger has power built into it. We feel powerful. We feel driven. And in fact, you can see that that anger is what was all about when you were ready to fight. All the only thing that you didn't have was something to fight with.
Yeah. Really, I wanted to rip someone's head off.
Right. The body gets ready for that. And guess what? This is what causes violence in our community, is those sort of feelings of this is the time to fight because something is wrong and I've got to make it right. And it feels powerful. We feel strong. It feels good. It feels delicious.
Yeah, but it has a aftertaste. The aftertaste is tired, and you get very tired of it. It's very tiring.
Well, now you're going in the other direction, though. You see, we're making sure that we understand the reason why there's so much anger in the world is because people can see the benefit in it. That there was a part of you at that point in time when you were angry was thinking that you'll get more results done if you go over there angry.
Yeah.
That this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the point. Good. Now you got what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That there is gratification in that anger.
All these issues.
But there is more. The Buddha says it's not only the gratification, we also have to see the danger.
Yeah.
And that's what you keep going towards, and I keep driving you back. No, you've got to see the gratification first because that's what drove you in the first place. It's remorse over seeing the danger of it later. But in that moment, it was gratifying.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that you recognize that, you can begin to check on that next time this goes on, next time this happens. Begin to understand how you feel. You feel powerful. You feel like you can, that you've got a sacred duty to perform. You've got to do this. You're driven for it, okay? But we don't realize that we're actually just a slave to that then, but that
Yeah.
it has gratification built into it. Just like sex has gratification, it's a drive that we have,
Yeah.
okay? And there's gratification. But now, later, and according to the teachings of the Buddha, we're seeing that, oh, wait a minute, this anger is nothing but ill will, and it is really dangerous because this is where we are likely to cause harm. In fact, we don't even see that the anger itself causes us harm.
Yeah, but with sati we can feel that the body doesn't actually feel good, even if the mind can feel good when you're angry and you're righteous and you're getting it right, and you can feel that the body's breathing. You can feel it in the breathing because you're breathing.
Exactly.
Actually, it's the body is in pain.
And a lot of the blood that would normally be used for thinking is now there in the body for all of that built up energy and excitement. The funny part about when people are angry, they can't think very well.
No, it's everything gets cloudy.
Well, it's not necessarily clouded, it's just that we don't have the energy from the brain because our breathing is not all of that good, but all of the blood now is in the body to do that work. And so we don't think very well.
Exactly.
Actually, this is well known. An example is informal debates like at universities and debating teams and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That there is a major rule of no ad hominem attacks, which means that you cannot attack the opponent. You can only attack the issue of debate.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because if you can get your opponent in debates flustered, he'll lose his concentration, he'll lose his focus, and you can defeat him.
Okay. It gives you an unfair advantage.
It takes about an unfair advantage, and you can see that. Well, in professional wrestling, they do the same thing. They want to work up the crowd, but the whole idea is that you're working up your opponent so that you can get him so frustrated and anxious and wanting so badly to fight you that he's not watching closely what you're doing.
Exactly.
That we begin to underestimate the power of our opponent when we're angry because we feel so powerful. So that's another one of the little dangers.
That's another danger. Yeah, and I never thought about that.
Well, congratulations. Now you can begin to think about, in fact, that overall, that being angry is to our own personal disadvantage. And that, in fact, we would like it if we could get our enemies angry. Think about it like this. If you would like your enemy to be ugly, on fire, incoherent, and have people want to avoid him, then the right thing to do is to get your opponent angry, because if he's angry, his face is contorted and he looks ugly. When he's angry, nobody wants to be around him. When he's angry, he's almost incoherent sometimes with rage.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you really want to get somebody in a foul mess, get them angry.
Yeah, it's a good way to making somebody look dumb.
All right.
In the group.
And now we can turn that around. Why then would I get myself angry? Am I my own worst enemy? At that point in time, I can think about, that's what's going on.
Yeah, actually, it was because I see myself as I don't see myself as an angry person, but You know, I see myself as a very happy person that
Well,
always helps.
nobody's talking about long-term stuff anyway here. We always talk about it that we only look at it, or the point of investigation is when it's there. Yes, I know that it's not there all the time.
Yeah,
We're
but
not
yeah,
talking about whether you're an angry person or not, as if you had
I think
anger as a something that was stamped on your forehead or tattooed.
you know, but I mean, it's like I think shame for me, it's like being angry is very shameful for me. You know, so when I get angry, my shame comes in, and it's like afterwards, and it's like, but what are you? You're not this kind of person that gets angry this easy, and it comes and judges me, and even more. You know, so I think anger is problematic in so many different ways.
Right, exactly so. That's another one that, in fact, we had already touched it lightly, but we're going back over it again, and that is that in the some of the cultures that we live in, not only is anger praised because it gives us a good feeling, but it's also shameful behavior because the other part of the society can see the danger in it. Okay, so now that we can see the danger, we see the gratification, and we can see the danger. The next thing that happens to happen is we have to plot our escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Well, first off, I have to mention that I'm kind of quoting from the Buddha now. That this is documented in several suttas. This sequence of events of the gratification, the danger, and the escape. Because if we don't see the danger and we only see the gratification, then we don't even have a clue about the escape, nor even that we would want it. But once we can see the danger, we can begin to plot our escape from it.
Hmm.
Okay? And one of the ways that we're going to look at it is that we want to catch the anger as soon as we can, because if it builds up, it blinds us. And so the sooner we see anger, as dangerous, the easier it is to deal with.
Hmm. So the earlier I can
That
feel
if
the
your
impact.
buddies have to drag you off of whoever you're attacking, it's going to take you longer to cool down than if you can catch yourself before you ever open your mouth.
So you mean that sati must be very, very developed?
Well, let us say it definitely is a skill to be developed, and now you see with the danger of anger how important it is to have sati there, just at the right point in time. When things get dangerous, or the worst possible moment, is when we need sati.
Yeah, and that's the hardest possible moment to have sati also.
Uh-huh. And so you say, well, if I've got to develop this thing called sati in the present moment, how in the world can I do that by sitting on the floor in a thing called meditation? The answer to that is because there we can actually practice sati
Hmm.
over and over and over and over again to come back and be here now with each in breath and with each out breath, knowing that we're practicing it so that when these feelings come up in the real world, we can catch them before we make an ass of ourselves and then feel shame later.
Yeah, like my dad used to have a morning outburst every morning. You know, not every morning, but he was very angry in the morning. You always avoided him in the morning. So actually, I was like this also when me and my girlfriend when we met. I was like this also. Every morning I was pretty unstable, you know.
Well,
And that
thank
had,
you for admitting that. I was about to try to talk you into saying that you were like your dad too. If you learned that from him, you did it, you practiced it too, and now you're admitting to it. So that's good. That's a
yeah,
good time to actually be mindful then, is when you wake up in the morning, you say, hot dang, I'm going to be really joyful instead of angry in the mornings.
Yeah, I've been practicing it now with my daughter because I wanted to have a good morning, you know. And usually this is my hardest time, you know, getting her to eat breakfast and then putting her clothes on and getting to go to school. I get so frustrated, you know, with her, and then I get frustrated with myself that I lose my temper, you know. So, but actually, the last few days has been pretty cool because I've been thinking, I've been thinking like, you can do this for her, you know, you can do this, you can have this happiness for her sake, you know, and then it goes much easier. Then we sit and we discuss things and we have fun, I don't get normal things that I normally get angry about. I don't get angry about when I have this, like when I have this different operating system on, you know, what you can call it that.
Well, it looks like that you're making progress, and that's good. That's the important thing is that you're beginning to wake up to this.
Yeah.
So now that you're making a point of it, um, I would put this in the sense of putting anger on your not to do list. But I'm
Yes.
not going to allow myself to get angry. I'm going to be on guard and watch for that so that you can catch it in advance or catch it when it's happening rather than letting it once the feelings of anger come up, they're more difficult to deal with than as they're coming up. As they arise, if you can see them as they arise, then they're easiest to deal with.
Yeah.
But if you are already in it, then the very first thing that you should do, in fact, the first rule is to shut your mouth, to close the mouth. Do not speak to anyone while you're feeling angry.
Yeah.
That's kind of a personal rule that is useful to make. Is under no circumstances will I speak to people while I'm angry. Let me deal with this and come out of it, and then I can talk to people.
My girlfriend's
And
just gonna
guess
take
what?
my son here. Wait. Delivery here. So.
All right.
Mm.
So once you get going at that, you'd be surprised at how easy it is to hear that thing or to see that thing that did create the anger. And you can say, I can change my mind. I do not have to be angry about that.
I think it helped with my daughter because I've been analyzing why I get so provoked by her, and you know what it is actually, it's not anger, it's worry. You know, I get worried that she's gonna grow up like me, you know, and she's gonna be sloppy and she's gonna be like ruled emotional, and she's not gonna, you know, many things, you know. I get worried that, you know, I mirror her, you know, I see myself in her, and that makes me worried and that makes me angry because I want to do something about it, you know. And but lately I've been thinking more like, okay, Edward,
Well, guess
she's
what? You do know that she's actually smart enough and learning how to manipulate you by acting like you.
mm-hmm.
That she's actually manipulating you. The kids learn how to do that when they're really, really young.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me
They mimic.
with her.
That's how we ingrain all of this stuff into ourselves is because we actually mimic our parents. You've actually
Mhm.
heard it in phrases like monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has been
Okay.
she has been actually she has been
So
much more she has been much more happy now the past month maybe, and
she
when
will
and I
mimic that too.
yeah. Hmm. My temper has, I have made some progress in my temper, and she has done it too at the same time, actually, when I think about it. Because me and my girlfriend, we talked about it last night, that she has been so different this past few weeks. And, I have been different as well, actually, also. And
Well,
since
you
you
can
told
change
me
as
that,
fast as she does. Can you
yeah,
stay ahead of her?
that's the question. That's the question. No, I have to stay ahead of her because I have to lead her to life. I have to be a good father. For me, that's the most important thing.
Well, actually, no, the important thing is this present moment, not the future. You don't have to worry about the future. If you take care of the right nows right now well enough, the future will take care of itself, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you can be joyful with her right now, then you will teach her and she will mimic your joyfulness.
It's so hard just because you have I have such a primitive brain. It just comes. It's this monkey thing, this monkey thoughts, like, if I have to be stronger than him, or it's all these comparisons and stupid stuff. It's or like feeling of being out, the outrage feeling, like, somebody did this to me, but or
Mm-hmm.
or or even worse, like, what if somebody does this to me? And then you go around with this in your head, and then you go out of your house and you're
That's
already.
what insurance policies and insurance companies, they thrive. They make huge amounts of money on things that never happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, it is. they get dirty wealthy and rich off of things that never happened.
Yeah.
That's what the art of actuary is all about, is to planning on how bad things can get and then charge them more than that.
Yeah. I have a lot of insurance, man. I have cancer insurance, I have everything. I'm insured up here, to my ears.
And none of that stuff will ever happen. And if it did, the insurance company is not going to be that useful.
No, exactly. Probably. You're probably right.
Hmm. So, um, in that regard, our whole society is built upon that you should be planning for the future. And by doing that, we're negligent always of this present moment, where the real joy of living is always in the present moment, right here, right now. And that's the only way that you'll ever be able to deal with anger, whatever level of anger you're at when you're dealing with it. It's always right now while you're angry. The question is, how quickly can you catch it, so that the quicker you catch it, the easier it is to deal with.
But
So
when I
there's the
catch the feeling, am I just going to start doing the breathing, or how do like, should
well,
I
the first
just
thing
calm my
is,
body?
aha, I see that. I see I don't like it. An
Mm.
example would be the child starts yelling or screaming in a kind of a tantrum, that they
Mm.
recognize that the phone is gone, that they can't have their cell phone, they've got to do their homework, and they'd rather throw a tantrum than enjoy their homework. This happens on a regular basis. And the most common, what will happen is the adult mom, especially, will come up with her hand in the air. Now the
Mm.
child is reading that, and mom's actually threatening the child. If you don't shut up, I'm going to smack you. Now the child is really emotional because they are afraid of what mom will do, and they may not be able to stop all of the feelings that are overwhelming the child. So Daddy is over in the corner and he sees all of this going on. Is he going to get angry with the baby like mom does, or is he going to get angry at her?
Mm.
What is he going to do? Is he going to sit there with the wisdom out and he says, maybe if I can cheer a couple of people up, we won't have to have this?
Yeah. That's a better solution.
Hmm. And so that's the way to begin to look at it. When you yourself begin to get angry, you can ask yourself, what's the better way to handle this? Maybe if I can cheer everybody else up, Then by cheering
Yeah.
myself up, I'm out of my anger, and not only that, but while I'm cheering people up, I'm getting what I want anyway. So now you walk into that authority office that we were talking
I
about
get.
before.
I actually do this a lot. Yeah, at home. I keep everybody happy. I make sure everybody got the food. In the stomach. I'm very much thinking about all this stuff all the time. And I'm
You too?
sometimes. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I eat
Yeah,
and
right.
everything.
How can you give joy to someone if you've got none to give?
Mm. Yeah, but it's like for me, it's like giving to other people is that makes me happy. You understand what I mean? And or I think it's gonna make me happy,
Right?
but sometimes,
Generosity is a big, big deal in Buddhism. I think you've heard that.
yeah, but for me, like it's unskillful generosity because I do this all day, and then my girlfriend, maybe my girlfriend is a little bit, I cook everything, I clean everything, I fix everything for them, and then and I'm very tolerant, I'm very happy, like, and they're complaining, I'm like, oh, it's not, it's fine, it's gonna be good, and then after a while, it's like I explode, because then I come up to my point, and then my girlfriend like sneezes or something or says something unpleasant because she's in a bad mood and all my efforts doesn't work. So then after a while, then I get pushed. I feel like I get pushed to be.
But now you're describing that you know what to look for. You know exactly what to look for. So when you start to get to the point that you're going to explode, mindfulness is needed now. Okay, do not let those emergencies happen. Don't let things build up like that to the point that you do explode. Let things build up like that to the point that you wake up, see what's going on.
But uh, uh, if is it unskillful of me to give so much if I can't do it and be happy? Should I
Well,
should I try?
then why don't you do something else to get happy rather than
Mm.
giving because you're already saying that it doesn't always work?
No, it's like sometimes it works the most time, but sometimes it's like it drains me. And if it doesn't work, if I don't get the people around me happy, like in, let's say, 4 hours, that if I don't get it, it's like I feel like, oh, I'm giving all these things to my family, and they're just complaining. My girlfriend is complaining, my daughter's complaining, my son is screaming, and
So
I'm trying to like,
because
oh,
they're all feeling
everybody,
bad, I might as well feel bad too. Because they're all feeling bad, I might as well feel bad too. Is
yeah,
that what
exactly.
happens?
But for
Hmm.
me, it's like a big
So they
failure.
win.
Then I don't get like normally, like then I don't get grumpy. I get really angry, and that's a big problem.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now I recognize I didn't know
Because
I had
before
this
you
thing.
got angry, you were feeling victimized by the fact that you couldn't cheer them up. They won and you lost. So let's get some anger going because then I'll feel powerful and maybe I can make them feel good by making them feel afraid.
Something like that.
Yes, isn't that interesting how we behave that way? Yes, if you can see that cycle, you can put an end to it.
Now I see it. I think I didn't think I realized I had such an anger issue until we talked. Now, actually, now I feel like, oh, this is like my big issue. This is like
Well, it's
my
the one
big
that we're working on. It is the issue of the day.
because this hindrance is like a hindrance for me that leads to other hindrances. This hindrance, when I get really angry, I also get like sometimes I try to quench it with desire. Then I quench it with food or sex or unskillful actions. And um, and it always makes me feel like I feel like such a loser, when I go into these impulses.
Hmm.
Afterwards, I feel it while I'm doing it, but afterwards it's like, oh man, why did you do that? That's
Okay.
that's just a loser.
Well, the scenario then would be that as soon as you recognize that you're getting angry because you're not getting what you want and you're wanting to feel powerful, then you can say, okay, now that I see that, I can become happy and joyful and use that power. So then I sit there and I take a deep breath and I enjoy the moment and I feel really good. And it doesn't matter whether I got my way or not. I'm still satisfied and okay. Even though they're grumpy, I'm not. You can almost think about it in this sense. You've heard about the whole concept of revenge. You know what
Yeah.
revenge is. Okay. Well, basically, when you're trying to cheer everybody up and they won't get cheered up, you get angry and try to take revenge upon them for not
Yeah.
cheering up because you want them to. Okay. Well, think about it this way, and that is that the very best revenge is living well.
Mm.
The very, very best revenge that you can take on them is sit down, do some Anapanasati, and get yourself into a very happy state, and then you don't care anymore.
Mm.
That in fact,
Mm.
the really successful revenge is when both you and they recognize that what they did was not even a big deal, didn't
Yeah,
affect you a little
at
bit, that
work,
that you were
at work,
okay, that they're
I'm best at this. At work, when people get upset, then I'm like, it like fuels my happiness when people are, it doesn't matter what happens at work. At work, I'm always like happy, but at home, I don't want to take revenge on my family, even if it's making myself happy. Maybe we can use another word or something for it.
well,
Maybe.
taking advantage of them by turning them from being unhappy to happy. Sounds
Mm.
like that you're doing that with their permission anyway.
Yeah.
But if you get angry at them and start hassling them with your anger, then they're going along with your anger, but they're doing it reluctantly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're manipulating them all the way, all the same, one way or the other. Why don't you manipulate them in the direction they prefer to go in?
That's true. That's true. You're right. Yeah, I'm doing it whether I like it or not.
hmm
And
You're
it's harder
there.
with the family. At work, I can be like a little bit more distance when people, when drama starts. I can be like a little bit outside of it, and I can just laugh a little bit for myself. And actually, when real drama happens at work, when people fall down or die or stuff like that, I am always like on top. It I don't, I function very well in those situations. For me, the most difficult situations is the normal situations, just the everyday. Yeah.
Well, that's why you need sati. That's why you need to practice getting that sati going. Keep cheering yourself up and recognizing that you can put yourself into a really good state and that you can do that when you need it most.
Yeah. I would like to be able to practice that.
Okay, well, practice.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you have any?
Practice.
Should I think about anything more in my meditation? How, like, should I have a special focus right now? Since we're
Well,
talking about.
kind of like think about how nice things are at your house and how um, comfortable and relaxed you are, and that everything is okay, and you don't have any trouble, and there's no dangers going on, and everything is okay. These are the kinds of things you want to say. Everything's okay. Everything is fine. And get yourself into that state of mind. Everything is fine. I'm okay. No worries, no hassles, no problems, no nothing. Everything's already in order. No need to be enlightened. Everything's already enlightened enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I dropped that. Actually, it took me just a few months of listening to you to drop that enlightenment fantasy thing. Mhm. And actually, when I start practicing a little bit more for real with Anapanasati, like you're teaching, it's like I don't, I don't need to go to eighth jhana to feel good. It's okay to be, if I can't be
No,
in the
in
first.
fact, you don't get into first jhana until you feel good. Feeling good
Exactly,
is one of the attributes of first jhana. If
exactly.
you can't If you can't feel good, you can't have first jhana. And everybody says, I want first jhana so I'll feel good. I want 8 jhanas so I'll feel good. No,
Yeah, it's
no,
like,
they're missing out on the cause and effect relationship.
but what do you think about? I have a question for you. What do you think about like how much, it's like some people are like meditation athletes, they put in a lot of hours and they get like
Well,
usually
they only do so because they're full of desire. They really must be suffering a lot if they put themselves through such torture. I know I've been there, done that. Yeah. Yeah, meditation junkies, they want so much.
But do you think do you think you have to do it like to realize that you don't have to do it? You understand what
You
I mean?
do it
Like
until you feel good.
mm,
Okay? An old Zen story. The young Zen monk came up to the old master and got the master's attention. The master kind of opened his eyes and the student says, Master, do you meditate to become enlightened? And the old master says, no. I meditate because I already am enlightened.
mhm.
Okay, so that's good enough reason. You meditate because you already are satisfied. And yet so many people are meditating because they want something. They're not
Yeah,
enlightened yet.
I actually start dropping that a little bit more, but I get into it. I get my mind tricks myself into it, so I forget, and
I know
like
that's why
2 days.
sati is because we keep forgetting and going back into those old habits of wanting something. We want.
Yeah, it's like it's just hammering here and but it was pretty interesting because yesterday after this day of very much rage and everything, my mind was so empty. It felt so good. I feel like I felt ashamed, but a little bit ashamed because of my behavior.
But
But
you didn't want
at the same
anything. That was the good
yeah,
part.
I
You
didn't
don't
want
want
anything.
anything.
I was
Everything's already okay.
yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a feeling. It was a nice feeling. It was a
Okay,
different
well,
feeling.
continue to cultivate that to the point that when those incidents that happen that would make you angry, you can cultivate that whatever happened just now is okay. I
Mm.
don't want anything out of it.
Yeah.
If the neighbors mess up in the yard, that's okay. We'll take care of it somehow. No worries. Not a problem.
Okay, Dhammarato.
We might have a
I
job
have
to
to go.
do, but that's not a big problem. We do jobs from time to time.
Well, I'm happy that you could answer. Maybe your day is almost ending now in Thailand, right?
Sundown is coming, yes.
Yes. And I have to go to my son and help him now.
Yes,
But
I noticed that he's wandered off, so I'll let you go. And we've had a really nice talk about anger. Thanks for listening. I think that other people may get something out of it also.
yeah, I think so too. And I didn't realize that it was such a big issue for me, but I kind of
I
did.
don't know of anyone who is it's not a big issue for.
Oh, okay.
Every time anger comes up, it's a great big issue right then and there, an upset. Never mind how often.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. And it was very nice. I will incorporate this in my practice. And
Excellent.
I'm so happy that I could call you even with my son, because I don't have so much time during the
Okay.
20 hours.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you, Edward.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.